Know what I think? I think eating beans happens to be one of those underrated pleasures of life. You're running short of money, it's payday, won't be for a while, but you do have a couple cans of beans, right? What do? Make some beans with some toast, maybe. And if you have some rice, you're going to have that too, right? I like beans. Okay, so I am not a closeted bean eater. Along with beans, I happen to like this particular bread. At our local supermarket, they sell 3 of these breads for 99 cents. The same place I got these dark red kidney beans. You gotta admit it, beans is what 79, 89 cents a can. The loaf of bread I just showed you was like 33 cents each. That's a bargain. Now, to flavor the beans, I happen to like using salt pork. This is about maybe 4 ounces, maybe 6 ounces of salt pork. But I don't just chunk beans. I cut them up in bite-sized pieces like this. So, it's going to be pork and beans, is it? Yep, pork and beans. The rest of the stuff really is optional, depends on what you like. I happen to like onions. I use a very, very small onions because I don't want the onions to overpower my beans. I really don't want that to happen. The other thing that I like to give you a word of caution here. I like to add maybe a teaspoon of sugar, brown sugar, to my beans, salt, and onions, along with a sliver of Scotch bonnet pepper. If you're going to add sugar, be careful. You've got to stir your pot often. So sugar out the sugar, and then later you can try it with the sugar. Once everything is in your pot, of course, you want to stir everything well. Once everything is stirred well, and you add some water, enough to cover the beans, perhaps a little bit more, then you can turn your stove on and get everything boiling. Boil, just lid on, let it simmer for about an hour and a half. Or you can do as I did and added some dumplings. This is flour with some garlic salt in it because I like it. That's all. I turn it into a dough, and once I turn it into a dough like this, then I put a pinch of the dough in my hand and I'll rub my hands together and I'll get these. I call them spinners. The truth is, this does take a little time to look like that. No matter. If you cannot make them and your dough turned out almost like a pancake batter, just use a teaspoon or a tablespoon and drop them into your beans just like that. Now, you don't want to stir anything for 2 or 3 minutes because you want them to cook a little bit. Because if you don't do that, they're going to be very mushy in there. So let them cook a little bit and then you can stir them. Okay, just a little bit of advice there. If, on the other hand, you are very good at what you're doing and, you made the spinners the way that you're supposed to, then of course, drop them in. One at a time. I like to do it one at a time so they don't stick together. That's why I do them one at a time. Now, once the spinners are in, voila, you're almost done. Now, I like to add my spinners at the same time my beans begin to boil. At the time my beans begin to boil, rather, I add the spinners. So I let them cook in there for a long time. Like I said, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You may want to practice making these things because if you've got small children, they're going to enjoy eating them in their soup, in anything you cook, really, that calls for dumpling. Chicken and dumplings. Why not have chicken and dumpling with dumpling looking like little spinners? Would that be cool? Okay, so the lid goes on. Let it cook for about an hour and a half. Actually, you simmer for hour and a half rather. And if there's sugar in it, you want to stir it often. Remember that? You want to stir it often. Like I said, everything is in. You're going to let this simmer for about an hour and a half. And there you have it, your closet food once your hour is over. Then, on your plate, the bread I showed you earlier, I toasted it in a toaster oven with some butter on top. This is what it looked like for about 7 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. Temperature about 3 maybe 400 degrees. With my leftover rice, I added that. And what I don't show you is a little bits of broccolis all around the rice. Look, taste really. Anyway, I added my cooked beans to it all, and that was my dinner. I will tell you this. I am not a closeted bean eater. I like beans and rice. I do. With toast.